Guys, we are back after a 1-week hiatus. We got our No Filter segment with Ray King, former Major League Baseball pitcher, and NFL free agency is starting to get right around the corner, and Dak Prescott has a new deal with the Dallas Cowboys. That, and did anybody watch the NBA All-Star game? This is the We Don't Know Sports podcast. Stay tuned. Welcome back once again to the We Don't Know Sports podcast. This is Chad the Mark with
Mr. Brown
and
Canadian Biggie.
Guys, it's good to see y'all, man. And we apologize. We did not do a show last week due to some technical difficulties, but we're back and we got a few things to get off our chest. And for those who have just found the show for the first time, give it a chance. And if you like it, make sure you follow, subscribe, find us on social media, especially Facebook, because Facebook sucks and we're trying to rebuild that. And if you don't like our show, just move on. Pretend like it never happened. But we hope you enjoy at least something that we're bringing to you tonight.
Some shows are better than the others, but they all come from the heart. Just remember that.
This show is better than others. Like, I'm not trying to be egotistical. I'm just telling you those are facts. Facts don't care about your feelings, right?
Damn right.
And don't forget, it's We Don't Know Sports 2.0.
Yes, the 2.0. But, it's hopefully we can drop that eventually. But, Facebook sucks. And I don't know if anybody's ever had this happen before, but, we got hacked by Pakistan and then we came back and we posted one meme of people climbing the walls of the Capitol and said that this is what the NFL playoff race looks like. That was it. No violence.
It was strictly about the playoff teams. The ones at the top are the playoffs.
Joke.
The ones climbing were trying to get there like the Dolphins. And then like my beloved Raiders were down at the bottom.
Right.
It was nothing violent at all.
No. And that has put us in Facebook jail for eternity.
Over 60 days. Probably forever.
Forever.
Very
Eternal
frustrating
damnation.
because I think I shared it with Mr. Brown. I saw it on Instagram. Kevin Hart had the exact same picture, but he had a different caption, and it had 3 million likes. Yet one
we're not Kevin Hart.
put us into purgatory.
Yet, but we will be.
That's right.
You're about the same height as Kevin Hart.
I think I would play center on his basketball team. Thank you.
You might do that.
Yeah.
So we do have a couple things to get to. Just starting off, let's go right into the NFL. So Dak Prescott got a payday. And it's, I don't have the terms off the top of my head, but was it 4 years for $136 million?
4 years, $160 million with a $66 million signing bonus, which is the largest in league history.
Correct. So I'm just going to ask you, Biggie, is this good, bad, middle of the road? Like, tell me, if you're the Cowboys, if you're a fan, how do you feel? If you're Dak Prescott, how should you feel?
Well, if you're Dak, you're happy because you got a lot of guaranteed money. As a Cowboys fan, you maybe hate that you gave him that much money where he's coming off the injury, but like you had said on the show a couple weeks ago, you looked at this year's franchise tag and next year's, you were paying him what you were guaranteeing him now to be your quarterback for the next 2 years. You didn't guarantee the 2 years after that. So in 4 years, he walks, but you have him for 4 years.
Yeah, he could have got $90 million in guaranteed money from franchise tags the next 2 years.
Yeah.
I don't know if Dallas would have done that next year because it would have been so high, and then he could have hit the market and maybe he would have got more. But then what if he comes out this year and plays like shit?
Yeah. See, I think what Dallas did, and people are kind of crapping on him for the money they gave him with the cap going back $16 million this year, and they have other needs to fill, but they decided we want him. We can get him for the next 4 years at this rate, which is less than 2 franchise tags plus a contract.
Right. Honestly, I thought it was a good deal when I looked at it. And I'm not a Cowboys fan. I probably believe in Dak Prescott at least a little more than I know Biggie does. Mr. Brown, I can't remember.
I mean, for me, as a Dallas fan, I'm fine with it because obviously he's better than anything that's going to come out of the draft. He's proven. And then unless you're going to try to trade for like a Russell Wilson type, he's better than what's out there.
Right.
So, I mean, it is. Now, do I think they'll ever make a Super Bowl with him? That's another discussion.
Right. And you know what? Honestly, 4 years, like, that's not that bad, really. That was the biggest thing I looked at. Like, I was making sure it wasn't a 6 or 7 year deal because you've seen how many teams have moved on from quarterbacks they just signed like decent deals with, and they've already got rid of Goff, they got rid of Wentz, and he's kind of in that same era, for the most part. And I know people are getting upset that he's getting Patrick Mahomes money. He's getting Patrick Mahomes money on the short term, but not the long term.
Yeah, and the other thing, if I were a Cowboys fan, the only thing I'd be concerned about is you're getting Dak back off of a horrific injury. You're not getting the same quarterback who put up those gaudy numbers for
I don't
the
know.
first
Marcus
few
Mariota
games.
somewhere is like, what the hell, man? How come I break my leg and nobody gives me a payday?
I think they need to be more worried about that Ewok at running back.
Yep.
I mean, what are they going to do there?
Hasn't showed up since he got paid. You know, if I'm a Cowboys
the
fan,
baby's gap, and you know what I mean? What's he going to do?
8-8 wins that division. So yeah, baby, we're a playoff
That's it,
team.
man. You can sit there and say you could have a losing record over the next 3 years and make the playoffs twice and be like, see, we're a force. We're a juggernaut in the NFC East. Yeah. But, it is what it is. But the Cowboys are probably going to be 8-8, right?
I would agree.
If Dak's healthy.
They have too many other holes they need to fill. If they hit a home run in the draft this year, maybe it happens, but they need to rebuild their offensive line, and they got some deficiencies on defense.
And part of the reason why you sign Dak like that is if you look at the free agent market, which is where I kind of want to go now, like what's out there in free agency really? Like so many people got franchise tagged. Everybody's already under contracts for the most part.
If you were the Cowboys, unless you had something behind the scenes where you were going to be able to get Russell Wilson because he put you on one of his list, there's nothing else out there better than signing Dak.
Yeah, unless you work out one of these blockbuster trades.
Yeah.
And unless you're John Gruden, it's not happening. I'm foreshadowing, Mr. Brown.
No, I hear you. I honestly think with that division, though, their ceiling for me is 10-6. Because you got 3 teams you could absolutely beat up on. Because with Dak playing, they're the better team of the 4. In my opinion.
I mean, he's definitely the better quarterback out of that division.
I mean, what's Washington doing? You got Hurts in Philly. I mean, the Giants is probably the only team you got to watch out for.
The Giants are probably going to be the best overall team in that division next year, but I don't know if they're going to be good enough in any one area.
Saquon.
I really think if Saquon can come back, stay healthy, and Danny Dimes can take a step forward to being a top 14 to 16 quarterback, that would be the Giants' division to win because they are solid in a lot of different areas. To me, the biggest question in that division is the Redskins. What are they doing at quarterback now they let Alex Smith go?
Yeah, and I know everybody's upset about that, but I get it. Like
it makes sense.
You got to move on.
His cap number was too big.
Yeah, because when you signed him, he had both his legs.
Yeah,
so just saying. Now, the one guy that we've had people on the show when we talked like Ravens fans, and I've seen it in social media everywhere. The darling of free agency was going to be Allen Robinson, and the Bears.
No, man, let me tell you, that was the move right there. Now I work with a guy, Ruben. He's a Bears fan, and he loves that move. And he says, "Now we just need to get us a quarterback." The one thing we couldn't do was let Allen Robinson go. Any guy that can get 1,000 yards with Mitch Trubisky and Blake Bortles needs to stay on our team forever. That was like the hot name at wide receiver. Kenny Golladay didn't get the franchise tag from
Detroit.
Yeah, but he's a stud, but he can't stay healthy. Allen Robinson, to me, is the best wide receiver who could have went to another team.
He's kind of like an Andre Johnson. He's going to play on these like suspect teams that probably don't have anything else, but he's going to put up these miraculous numbers. And
I mean, because he's over 1,000 yards every year. Almost double-digit touchdowns, and he just going up and getting.
He's like Hopkins. Like remember Hopkins before they got Watson? Like he was still putting up numbers. Didn't matter who his quarterback was.
I mean, but the most Bears thing ever would be for them just to go out and get someone like an Alex Smith.
Yes,
it's not going to be. They're not going to get a superstar.
Yes. Call it now. Is that a prediction? Can we go ahead and let's make that happen.
The Bears have a trade package rumored
for Seattle, right?
Yeah, where they're given 2 firsts, a second, a 4th,
Khalil Mack,
and a defensive starter.
Yeah, it's Mack.
Give them Mack as long as you keep Roquan Smith.
Yeah. I think overall value as a player, yeah, absolutely. But, we'll see what happens. But the Bears, do you trust their front office to do anything?
Oh, God, no.
I mean, it's so bad. But the thing, go ahead.
I just got one question for you. We talked about salary cap a few weeks ago. The Saints were the biggest team against it. Have you paid attention to some of the cuts they've made so far?
They've made a lot.
Yeah. That team's going to look a ton different next year. And all I see from Drew Brees, who we all expected to retire, and his cap number to go away, he's posting workout videos. Yeah,
so apparently that's why they're cutting everybody. It's like, we'll give one more shot with Drew, but do you really want that? I mean, that's it's not good. Sorry, Drew. We love you, but it's time to hang him up.
Page.
It is. So the last thing, just in free agency. So I know. What's his name for the Bucks? Wide receiver
Godwin
got franchise tagged. Yep. I was surprised by that one because I know Tampa doesn't have a ton of space, but wide receiver tags aren't that expensive right now, so that works. But you got you mentioned him earlier for Detroit.
Kenny Golladay.
That's it.
Yep.
Like, I mean, there's some like old ass
Emmanuel Sanders.
Yeah, I get. Wow, let's get really excited about him.
Well,
Tim
that's just
Tebow is
insane.
not walking through that door to throw. But like, unless you need a 34-year-old left tackle, like there's nothing out there in free agency.
See, I think the Bucs made the right move with their franchise tag. Godwin is awesome for that offense. They let Shaq Barrett go into free agency, but re-signed Levante David. Be interested to see if they re-sign Barrett or not. But to me, the franchise tag for Godwin, who's younger, and they see him as the number one, was the right move for him. And like you said, we were talking about Allen Robinson. If it's not Robinson or Godwin, who else do you want? Do you really want Golladay? You can't stay healthy.
No.
Get AJ Green, baby.
Oh, man. Can either one of you guys think of another wide receiver that's on the market right now that you'd want your team to go after?
No, and honestly, what's going to happen? The guys that are out there, like maybe Golladay might a little bit, but these guys aren't even going to get paid. Like it's not happening. The most attractive wide receiver is if you're building a trade package for Beckham.
Yeah, I would say he's not a free agent, but we should consider him in this discussion because he's definitely moving on.
You think so?
Yeah.
For certain?
Cleveland did better without him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that Cleveland did better without him, and they see him more as a asset to rebuild other parts of their team.
I agree. And plus, he's kind of cancerous anyway.
Yep.
It seems to be that way. Like, I hate to say that.
Sell
'cause I
high.
can't say definitively that's the case, but it seems to be. And then imagine if you just take all that cap money you're spending on him, which is a lot for a receiver, and then you're able to
Sure up the defense, the offensive line, whatever you need.
Because they kind of built their team a lot around, I mean, they got Njoku, another tight end, Jarvis Landry, it's short passing, and run game. Hunt, Chubb.
They still
good
got those
offensive-
guys.
Yeah, so
They're
if you
not
get-
going anywhere.
Yeah. Build the rest of your line or build your defense more.
Maybe Baltimore can go get Beckham. There you go. Lamar
Yeah, so
Jackson
Lamar
with a
won't throw it to
true
him.
wide receiver that he can overthrow.
Yeah, exactly.
Beckham's definitely going to the Bucks.
The Bucks.
Yeah.
Get out of here. They can't even afford to make that
He's
happen.
playing for peanuts.
It's not his choice unless Cleveland cuts him. Get out of here. We did have the NBA All-Star Weekend here this past week. And before we even get into that, Biggie, my question to you is, I need you to rank in order your favorite 10,000 NBA jerseys this year.
All I'm going to say is that if I can throw throwbacks into it, I can make a list. I can't do the jersey where LeBron's a Lakers forward with a Michael Jordan swoosh, a wish symbol, and something else on it.
like a
The
soccer
jerseys are
jersey.
killing me. I hate it. When they came out with the ads, I thought maybe they would be like bigger all over.
Why are
them.
there so many?
I don't know. Like,
I posted this in your basketball group, and some dude's like, okay, boomer. I'm like, you can't sit there and beat the classic Lakers, Celtics, Pistons, Bulls, just to name a few. I mean, what's wrong with using your vintage? That's when your teams were selling.
Like, why are the Celtics wearing a jersey tonight that has to? It can't say Boston. It can't say Celtics. It just says Boston Celtics all jumbled
It
together.
looks like a Y League.
yeah.
yes,
Yeah,
Y
it
League
does.
jerseys.
It looks like softball. Make sure we get all our sponsors on there. I don't like it. You know
Like
what the
funds
jerseys
were low.
I
when we
like?
made these jerseys.
Yeah, you're like billion-dollar franchises. Why do you need teams that logos
It's
on your
COVID
jerseys?
revenue, man. That's what it is. Like, you know what? They lost ticket sales. So what do?
Like,
you call up China and you say, I need 1,500 jerseys for each franchise. Stat.
I'm fine with like the stitchings of the sponsors. I mean, I'm not fine with it, but it don't bother me as
Right.
much as seeing that classic NBA jersey. Like if you had that classic Celtics jersey, like because we're watching the Celtics and Nets, the classic green, white lettering, you know.
And like the Nets are wearing one I've not seen before.
Yeah. And,
I mean,
and for God's sakes, bring back the 90s Drazen Petrovic Nets
yeah,
jerseys.
that powder blue.
Those are
You
so
know,
nice.
one of the jerseys I really miss, I enjoy, is the old school early Jordan days Bulls where they had like Chicago in cursive.
cursive.
Yep,
Yeah.
yep.
Just
Yeah, and that's
the jersey
fine if you wanna
itself
break
was
up-
enough.
Bring out the throwbacks. That'd be great, but why do we have to have like Vice City and
That's the worst.
and the San Andreas Clippers jerseys?
I can't even believe they did Vice City on their court. Like the court looks god awful.
It's so bad. I'm just, I guess, okay, boomer. That's what we are. Like, it's fine. Like, but I'm gonna embrace it. Like, I don't need to have that many different jerseys, but the NBA needs it because you guys are sheep and are going to keep buying it because you're morons.
Well, it's revenue. I got to get the new LeBron.
Right. I mean, it's stupid. Anyway, there was an All-Star game. Was it stupid? Because I did not watch it.
The All-Star game I watched a little bit of with Isaac, but not too much. And to me, it's stupid. They changed the format last year where each quarter is scored individually, and the end of the quarter.
Oh, yeah, they got them weird rules.
It goes to the charity of the captain's choice.
Yeah. It's just weird. And it's good that it goes to the charity of the captain's choice, but to me, the whole game is a sham. They play no defense. When I watched as a kid, and this is another OK Boomer thing, they go up and down a little bit for 3 quarters. In the fourth quarter, winning team got a little extra money. They'd lock in on defense. It was fun to watch. The fourth quarter is what you watch. Now, I can watch first couple quarters. You see a bunch of lobs. Zion goes crazy. It is what it is. I enjoyed watching because Steph Curry was shooting from half court and making them.
I don't think Greg Freak missed a shot, right?
16 for 16.
MVP, right?
Yep.
Yeah, heavily contested in the paint.
Yeah, What's funny is this first 13 shots, 12 or 13 were dunks or layups.
I'm surprised.
And he goes for this crossover fadeaway 3 and all the announcers are like, no! And he banks it in and he just shrugs his shoulders.
I caught it.
Nailed it.
My favorite part of the weekend are actually just the night because on Saturday night I was like, I want to watch, 3-point shootout. Wasn't on. They did it all day Sunday. Or 3-point shootout and skills competition were before the game. Dunk contest was at halftime like it was way back in the 80s. 3-point shootout was a lot of fun.
Yeah, so that's the only one.
That's
the only one that kind of holds the test of time, right? Like the 3-point shootout.
I think so. I mean, and you notice that there's more stars that come out for the 3-point contest than anybody would even imagine on the dunk contest.
Right.
You have studs out there doing a 3-point.
Like it should be. I'd be happy if it was like only all-stars can compete in these events.
I agree.
That would be great because then you might, but do you really want to see a 38-year-old LeBron in a dunk contest? I don't.
I mean, but there's so many all-stars that could have done it instead of him.
Correct.
I mean, he's put it off this long. He'll never do it.
Now, I know Biggie's got something on his mind, but I just want to throw this real quick because we ain't even going to talk about it. But the skills competition is hot garbage, and all they do is find the most fat, pudgy white guys and put in here.
Domantas Sabonis.
You can't compete in the other events, so we'll give you
Sabonis
this.
Jr.
You're going to
took it over, man.
You're going to run these
skills competition
skills that we did in 6th grade basketball camp.
It's Europeans. They really want to know the fundamentals.
Winning that as a 6'11" dude, that's pretty impressive.
I guess.
What I was going to say is when you said, only all-stars can participate in it, I do agree with you to a point, but I'll say this. Mike Conley was only in the 3-point competition because Devin Booker had to sub out with a knee. Mike Conley, we don't remember him as a big-time 3-point shooter through his days in Memphis, and now he's down in Utah.
Oh, yeah.
He lit it up.
He did good.
Steph Curry had to go on a run at the end to beat him on a buzzer beater. His last shot won it over Conley, who had a score of 27.
So Conley played out of his mind.
Yeah. So here's a guy who wouldn't have been there anyway. And I mean, you forget him now because he lost to Steph, but I enjoyed that part of it.
So 3-point competition is always good. Dunk contest, I didn't see it.
Garbage.
People were saying somebody got robbed or the judges.
Yeah, there was one. I watched the start of it, and I'll say this.
Say it. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, go.
I had a few takes on the 3-point shootout.
Okay.
So, 1, you got the big stars. 2, I like the fact because the game's changed so much. It's all threes or dunks. I love the fact they threw in those 2 long shots with the
Mountain Dew balls.
I think that's a good change.
Wait. What?
Instead of just going around the arc like you normally do, they put 2 long Mountain Dew balls out further, long range. You had to go out and shoot, and they were worth 3 points each.
Really? Like a whole rack of them?
No,
just one.
So
it was green for Mountain Dew.
Gotcha.
Between the wing 3 and the top,
they
had one on each side.
Step back.
How many more? You had to do it, but you had to take it in order.
I got
How many more feet back was it than the rest?
It was like 8.
30?
It was a good step back.
Yeah.
So 32, 33 feet away.
What's 3-point line? 23, 24. So that was 30, 32 feet.
I like that touch. And then also just Curry being hurt last year came out there. And basically, there was rumors in the locker room that he walked in and says, "Who's playing for second place?" Like Larry Bird, and he came out.
I like that.
He came
Give
out.
me some fire.
He came out and did his thing.
They asked him about that after the game too. Reggie Miller did ask him, so you pulled a Larry Bird. I won't take the warm up off. Who's playing for second? And all he said was, "I walked in there. They knew what I was telling them."
See, why can't we get more of that? That's great. But glad Steph wins. He's still showing he's the GOAT for
It's
this.
effortless for that guy. It was crazy.
Watching him shoot was beautiful, especially his second time around where he's shooting those deep balls and he releases it, looks at it, holds his hand like he knows it's going in. And because he's such a great shooter from distance, and I'm sure he practices, the round all the time, there was no rush in anything he did.
No. Yeah, that's just what he does. So dunk contest, what happened?
Oh, so the guy Cassius, I can't remember his last, Cassius Stanley.
Nobody knows these guys.
He plays for the Pacers. His first dunk was a 50. He came from the right side, went up between the leg. I mean, it was nice. Got a 44
for everyone.
He got robbed, and there's why the dunk competition sucks, because they've seen that dunk or stuff so impressive, so similar, so many times. Nobody cares anymore.
Yeah. It's like it's only.
And if he had been, like you said, an all-star, if LeBron James was out there dunking, people would be they'd care.
So I have one thing I just want to say. This is how you fix the all-star game. This is what I would do. And it'll never happen because the players would never, ever agree to this. But you got 10 guys on each side, right? 12 guys, whatever. How many guys? Is it 12 on each?
Yes.
All right. So that's 24 people. All right. So we have this little one-on-one tournament, games to 10, and just you draw names, however. Like it can be anything. It could be Harden versus LeBron, Could you just imagine how many people would watch that if you just had one-on-one? Because that's all the All-Star game is anyway. So let's just go
a one-on-one tournament.
Just go a one-on-one tournament with the All-Stars. And then like that's almost like winning the damn NBA finals. Like if you come out All-Star weekend and you're the guy that wins that, but they would talk about how exhausted they were because that'd be a lot of games, but you're only playing to 10,
And to top that off though, I mean, how many internet debates is there? Who wins one-on-one? Now we would get to see it live on national TV.
I'd love to watch like Gobert out there trying to what if he got matched up with somebody like Curry?
Yeah.
Like what does that look like?
Whose advantage is better, I guess.
Yeah.
Chad, that's an excellent idea, and it should happen, and that's why it never will.
I mean, but it's just because the players won't do it because guys don't want to get shown up.
Yeah.
The last thing you would want if you're LeBron is to have Curry beat you in a one-on-one game.
Oh, absolutely.
And it could happen because what if Curry hits like the first three-pointers he takes? And all of a sudden, he's getting a little edge, and LeBron can just back him down, right? But you're trading twos for threes.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and screw Curry. I mean, I don't think LeBron could beat Kawhi Leonard one-on-one.
I mean, right. Well, how does that look?
He plays defense and can shoot.
This would be great to watch. How is this not must-see TV? Why is this not a thing?
That's a great idea.
It'd be amazing.
Chad, you need to write a letter, or I'm sorry.
Someone should write
an email.
What's wrong with these guys?
Write it to China and have them send it to Adam Silver.
Dear China, tell Adam Sandler. Adam Sandler, I said. Adam Silver. I don't know what I'm talking about now.
You had me thinking I said Sandler.
I know! What is up? We Don't Know Sports Nation. Now is the time that we ask fans all across the world to take off the filter, rip off the Band-Aid, and tell everyone exactly what is on their mind. Ladies and gentlemen, it is time for No Filter. All right, ladies and gentlemen, coming back to the show from the sunny skies of Southwest Arizona. I guess he's down in the Phoenix area, somewhere down there. Mr. Ray King, former Major League pitcher. Ray, how you doing today, brother?
I'm doing well. And yourself?
Man, I can't complain. It's actually in the high 60s here the past couple of days, so that's not a bad thing. But I know you're down there with
warmer weather than us.
Really? How's that even possible?
I know, but only for a week though. We'll let you have your sunshine for a week. We'll take it back.
That's all right. I'll take it now, and then when you guys have 115, you can have that.
I hear you.
How you been, man? You've been doing well this past year. Survived the terrible year that was 2020, I suppose.
Yeah, it's been crazy, but we all survived, and fortunate enough, I guess I can say fortunate enough for Arizona, we didn't shut down like some other states, so we still had some things to do. So hopefully on the back end of it, if we can get back to what we somewhat call normal,
Absolutely. Yeah. And, I'm wondering, because I know you're down there in Arizona and I know they got fans in spring training. Are you planning on trying to swing by anything while that stuff's going on?
Well, I've seen two so far. I went out to the Rockies and then I went over to Milwaukee. So they're letting about, 15 to 2,000 fans in. And, just like it says, good to be in a stadium and you see some baseball and sit on some grass and drink a cold beer.
Yeah, that's not a bad day at all. I mean, I opine for days like that. I feel like I remember what it's like to go to a baseball game, but my God, it's been forever.
Yeah, like I said, it's good to be back. And then I was reading where Texas is going to go 100% with their opener. So, like I said, hopefully on the curve and some baseball fans get back in the stadium and see some great game of baseball, what it is.
Yeah, but can the Rangers even put 100% in? When's the last time they actually filled their stadium?
I think it's opening day last year, right?
It's probably we couldn't go to opening day last year. That's why it'd be 2 years ago.
Well, year before,
yeah. I'm just giving them a hard time. I know the Rangers are going to be super competitive this year. Not really, but there's always next year. We'll say that right after opening day. If you're a Rangers fan, sorry, Rangers fans. I don't know if we have.
Everybody's in first place opening day.
That's right. All right. So let me ask you this, because you play. How many different teams did you play for again, Ray?
Let's see, Chicago, Milwaukee, St. Louis, Colorado, Atlanta. 5.
Okay, so that's a health.
Yeah.
Okay, 6 teams. So I believe that's kind of a healthy mix between the grapefruit and the cactus league. So you spent time in both for spring training, right?
Correct.
Did you have a preference? Did you prefer Florida or Arizona? I mean, you live in Arizona now.
I love Arizona by far, just because of the travel. I think the farthest travel in Arizona, you may go, maybe 45, 50 minutes going from Goodyear to Mesa.
Okay.
Versus Florida, you can be on there for 2 or 3 hours. So travel wise here is by far the greatest. And, you home early and you don't have to worry about that afternoon rain in Florida and the humidity. So Arizona's going to be sunny and warm.
That's the place to be then. So let me ask you this, since you were with so many different clubs, I know every team has a little bit different approach when it comes to spring training ball. So from the outside looking in, we were talking about this before we brought you on the show. There are some teams that have very wild, different philosophies when it comes to spring training. Is that something you got to experience while you played? Was it pretty consistent, or was every team treating it a little different?
Everything was treating it different. The teams that won and knew how to get to October, it was more or less laid back, like Atlanta. I remember coming to Atlanta, Bobby Cox, all right, boys, let's get ready for October. Don't get hurt down here. Liam Mazzoni, the pitching coach, is like, either you're on the bullpen mound or pitcher's mound. If you're not on one of them, get off the field, because I don't want nobody to get hurt. And versus Milwaukee, where, we went through, continuous things that I think were overused, to where, you spend a whole day, you go in at 7, 8 o'clock, you're there at 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And it was just, I think it was overworked. But, teams that trying to get there don't understand it or don't quite get it the way Atlanta and St. Louis, where there's times I was on a golf course by 10 versus other teams I was, going to get a drink of water, going back to do PFPs.
Okay, so you got some that are treating spring ball almost like it's October, and the other ones, you're just getting your feet underneath you. So I assume you prefer that one, it sounds like. Was anything different with the facilities? Because it seems like it looks all the same from the distance here, but was there any club you were with that you just really enjoyed the digs down there versus another team?
Well, you got, especially being with Atlanta Braves, you spring training right there at Disney. So the family, friends come in, you get to work in, you hit Disney. But everything else is pretty much the same, to where, you're coming into the clubhouse, going out to the back fields until everybody get there, and then you move over to the main field. But it's pretty much the same, you just, getting in, getting your work in, and, out in the mornings, do the PFP, bunt defense, all the different defenses, and then you go in for your lunch and relax, and then go out for that 1 o'clock game, to where, it's like the season. You're playing every day at 1 o'clock, or sometimes mixing a night game to get the feel, but it's pretty much Groundhog's Day.
Man, did you ever have a situation? I don't know if you saw this or not, but they had a video a week or two ago. It was the Cardinals down in spring training, and they were the pitchers were trying to field live balls. Did you see what I'm talking about?
No, I missed that one, but we do PFP, and sometimes guys, catch one off the chest, catch one off the forehead, and you're rusty, but you got to get in front of it.
I'm just saying, I felt bad for Adam Wainwright. He looked like he hadn't had a glove on in quite a while, and they were out there just torturing the poor guy, the old timer, trying to give him.
Sometimes they tell you got to step on it and kill it, because sometimes that ball is like a snake; you never can catch it.
So at what point in spring training did you absolutely just say, you know what, I'm just ready for the season to start. Let's just get on with it. Like, when did that set in, when you guys just got stir crazy, cabin fever, whatever it is, you're ready to be done?
First day of spring training.
It's just, you don't want to be there at all, right?
No, it's the point where I understand it's for the fans, and spring training is kind of like for the starting pitchers. Relievers, we come in, we can be ready in a week or two. Hitters can be ready in a week or two. It's all about them starting pitchers. Them guys you stretch it out. 1 week they go 2 innings, next week 4 innings, next inning 5 innings, to where they can get up to 75 to 100 pitches going into April. But for relievers, man, it's just like you itching at the bit, because you may pitch once every 3 or 4 days. And then as a veteran guy, I knew what I needed to be ready for opening day, so I started backwards to where I knew opening day was April 2nd. I wanted April 1st off, and then throw a bullpen, maybe March 31st. And then spring training, I went backwards. Okay, last spring training, I went 2 days before release spring training. I went an off day. So I went backwards all the way until, say, February 22nd was our first game. So I knew exactly when I was going to pitch in spring training. Some guys coming from the East Coast where they haven't thrown a lot, where guys live in Arizona was able outside and get acclimated quicker. So you always try to plan, because if you look at April, a lot of relievers go through that dead arm stage where it's like, man, he's only throwing 90, 91 because he kind of overdid it coming into spring training, to where he went through that dead arm period. And you have to learn, especially some of the younger guys, you can't make the team on the first day, but they try.
So that brings up something I was asking, my boys here about a week or two ago was, DeGrom shows up on like the first day pitchers report and he's throwing 99. Like that, if I'm a Mets fan, like that scares me a little bit, because I know he's progressively gotten faster the past few years, but my God, you don't want to come out day one throwing that hard, do you?
No, you kind of want to work into it. I remember coming in with my first bullpens, I'm throwing, all fastballs and maybe mixing some change ups, but I'm going, 80, 85% to where I get, a week or two in, because, you come to spring training, you're giddy. You hadn't done anything all winter. I remember Greg Maddox used to joke. He's like, I put on my spikes right before spring training because the thing that hurt the most is my feet from day 1 to day 2. So your body got to get adjusted to it, because, you've been sitting around and you've been doing some things, but when you actually get on that rubber or get on that mound, you kind of want to turn it up a little bit. And you don't want to do that too fast, too soon, because, you see a lot of guys get hurt in spring training, and, you're no good, and, on a DL in April.
So, hey, I know last time we talked, it was kind of at the early stages of the season. We know we had a lot of rule changes and stuff last year. Did you do a good job keeping up with the game throughout the shortened season last year?
Well, I kind of watched it some, to where, you start looking at it to where, are they going to play tomorrow? Is the game going to get canceled? Or, what's the COVID protocol? Is someone break protocol? To where I didn't really get into it until the playoffs. And, even though it was, hibernated playoffs, the other team made it in, but it was some pretty good baseball. The Marlins come out of nowhere. That series with the Braves and the Rays and, the Dodgers series. It was some good baseball. And I think it was really exposed to where a lot of people watched it now, because there really wasn't anything to do, to where the game has changed to where, Whitey Herzog, Tony La Russa may manage them games different than Dave Roberts and, Kevin Cash, to where, I'll be on the record. I think Cash lost that series by trying to analytics too much.
Hey, that's where I was going to go next, just because you're a guy that did come out of the bullpen. And like we all know, Snell was dealing in that game, and I am by no means a Rays fan, but I was standing up for that game. And when they pulled the hook after that little bloop over second base, I couldn't believe it. And then it just fell apart afterwards. But have you ever been in a situation like that before? Not necessarily on that stage, but my God, when they brought in the reliever, and it's escaping me who it was, but they bring him in, and the Dodgers are like, they're up and they're giddy. They're like, oh my God, they're taking Snell out. Like, they're so excited. And then it just fell apart from there. But I'm with you, man. Cash, stupid move.
Well, you just look at. I remember in spring training with Bob Gibson. He used to tell a story. Bob Gibson would look down the bullpen and see who's warming up. He'd tell Rich Shaney, he's like, "No, that guy, he don't look too good warming up," or "That guy was out late last night. I'm gonna finish this game." Or you look at a Nolan Ryan to where, okay, Nolan Ryan threw 182 pitches to a complete game to where he's like, if I started this game, I'm going to finish it. And I know you got to respect your manager, respect the game, but I think me and Cashwood had a few words to where I may have got a fine because they may pick some on that hot mic where I'm telling them I'm not coming out of the effing game.
Well, I could read his lips, and he was not praying when they took him out of the game.
No, you look at it to where you only giving up one hit, and it was a bloop. To where you look at the Dodgers, like you said, they may give Snell a World Series ring.
I know, right? Or at least cash, one of them.
Yeah.
So you mentioned some of these other guys like Herzog and LaRusso. LaRusso back with, the White Sox, who seem to be poised to be a good team. How do you think his managing philosophy will translate in today's game with these younger players?
Well, even though Tony's an old school player, but Tony always going to put you in a matchup where you're going to succeed. If a guy doesn't succeed under Tony, then he's hadn't mentally or physically prepared himself, because Tony's all about the matchups where he's going to put you in a situation where he feel like it's the best matchup for you and the best matchup for the team, to where, he's going to pick your brain in spring training. He's going to get to know you. He's going to quote unquote get a pulse beat on you to where, can this guy perform at high pressure? Is this guy that I need to put in up by 2 or 3 runs can do it? Or here's a guy that only can pitch up quote unquote in the mop-up duties, but get us through there, to where he's going to have a feel of every guy in the lineup, to where you look at for us in the 04 series against Clemens, where Roger Cedeno is a lifetime 220, 230 hitter, but Clemens, he's a 500 hitter. You walk in the clubhouse, he's hitting a 5 spot. And what happens? You get 2 hits, probably help us win the game. So he's always going to look at matchups, and, he's old school where it's not analytic, but it's black and white. In baseball, black and white doesn't lie. If you're a 270 hitter, you may hit 210 in April, but at the end of the year, you're going to hit 270. So, old numbers come to light in baseball.
I'm excited to see what the old man can still do, because that team's definitely poised. So have you watched to see much of the roster changes that we've had here in the offseason? Do you have any opinions on anybody that got better, anybody that's going to make a serious push? I know last year it was easy for us to sit around and talk about the Yankees and the Dodgers, and half of that was true. But what are your thoughts coming into this season? Have you paid much attention to any of that?
Well, if you got to send David Price to the bullpen, I'm still picking the Dodgers.
Yeah.
To where, you pick up, you got Kershaw, Trevor Bauer, and Buehler, and, Price, and to where that staff is amazing. But I still like, Atlanta's still going to be tough. They didn't make a ton of moves, but they got Ozuna back, so they're still going to be tougher. Freddie's still hitting that lineup, that young pitching staff, to where I think they learned not a lot in that playoff series last year, to where, Max and all them guys, to where now they got a little notch on the belt and a little swagger. Okay, we know we got there. Now we need to know to get over the hump. He likes at the White Sox. I like to see them with some fans in the stands and them young kids fill off the electricity with the fans going in. So they're going to be trouble. And the Blue Jays, you look at the Blue Jays, they did a lot this all season, picking up some guys, and, Vladdy come in shape, and some other guys come in to where, they're going to be good.
I look at the Blue Jays a lot like how the Padres were last year. They still got a lot of young players, and we'll see if their pitching can kind of hold up and help them stay in ball games. But I know a lot of people are high on the Blue Jays. I think the AL East, it's the Yankees or the Blue Jays. I think the Rays fall off, and everybody else is going to be a step behind.
Yeah, I think the Rays, they use that whole small market money ball situation, but they dismantle a big part of that team. A lot of guys left to where you take your number one guy out of your rotation. Some other guys left that team. To I tell everybody, if you're a number 3 or 4 guy, you go to 1 or 2, you're going to be facing the Scherzers and Strasburg's 1 and 2s. And it's a different, because it's a mental game. It's like if I'm a 3 or 4, I make a match up this guy, but I'm a 3 last year, I'm going to the number 1 in rotation, to where sometimes you mentally beat because you look on the other side, it's like, oh man, it's a Cy Young winner, or this guy won 18 games, to where you can't get beat. But the best thing about baseball is, like I said, come April, everybody's 0-0 and the cream rises to the top.
That's right, man. So even though it's March 11th, this will air March 12th. If you had to give me a prediction right now, what 2 teams are going to meet in October?
Yeah, I still got to go to Dodgers And I'm gonna go out on a limb, and I think the Blue Jays going to be right there in the
Wow.
mix. And
Is that who are you taking them? Is that who you're taking?
One or two guys, and they may be there
Okay.
because you got them young guys that they don't know any better.
They don't know what they're not supposed to do yet.
No, right?
I appreciate the big balls taking that pick, man. Not everybody's going to do that.
You know, they're that homeless team. They don't have a home, so why not us? Shock the world.
Are they still not going to have a home?
No, I think they're going to start out down in Florida.
Oh man, that's crazy. I forgot all about that. That was a big thing for them last year. Hell, they couldn't even find a place to play for a while.
Right.
Man, you know what? You get forged in the iron and the fire, right? That's what will happen.
That's what I'm saying. You know, you just throw it out there and, see what happens.
All right. So I mentioned something to you before we started talking. So I saw this about the minor league doing some rule changes. I just wanted to throw this out there to you because last time we talked, you were real adamant against like baseball trying to change things up. Like I know you're not a fan of the DH, right? Like you hate that, correct?
Yeah, I'm not a fan of the DH. I think, National League Baseball, you shorten the game and, American League Baseball already sit back waiting on a 3-run homer. So now you add a DH in the National League, you add more time to the game. And I think the game should be played in 2.5, 240 tops.
I'm with you 100%. So here's what they're talking about doing some experimental things in minor league. And I don't have the specific details, but one of them is they're going to change how much you can do a defensive, I completely lost my train of thought.
A shift?
How much you can do a shift. So how do you feel about that? Should you limit the ability to do that, or should you just tell everybody they got to learn to hit against it?
No, I think you got to play straight up. You look at the early starts of baseball when the baseball game was designed, you put 9 guys in a position, and how many times out of that each guy come up, they hit it to one of them 9 guys. To where I think you start doing all the shift and all that. I just think it started messing with the integrity of the game. And yeah, I just never liked that shift. You look up and there's no guy at third base and, bringing 5 infielders in, no guy in left field playing this. And I guess some guys look at it like, the only way to stop them using the shift is put a bunt down third baseline or sit back and hit it. But, I think guys not going to change their approach. And it's kind of like that catch-22, but I'm not a fan of the shift at all.
All right, so that was one of the things that they're talking about doing in minor league. Here's another one. This affects pitchers big time, limiting the amount of pickoff attempts. I didn't say how many or how that would work, but that one seems real bizarre to me.
Well, I think if you limit it, you tell me a base runner, he can only pick off twice. On the third time, I'm going. Willie Mae Hayes may have 300 steals, right?
I know. Like, how big of a lead are you going to put a line of chalk in the sand so you can't go like so far on a lead too? Like, how does that even work?
I know the way they keep going on. We might as well put everything on RBI baseball and let Rob Deere hit again, right?
There you go. That's exactly right. So those are the 2 big ones. The other one was they said they were going to do bigger bases, which I don't even understand why you would want to change that at all.
Only thing I can say bigger bases is you ever seen a orange for safety measures where guys can't come down on top of ankles and things like that. That's the only reason I can see them changing that. But other than that, leave the game alone. It's been great for 100-something years, and we keep changing where the pitcher got to throw so much. And, starting with the California rule, run on second base. You mess with integrity of the game. Let the game play. And, talking about playing 2 7 innings instead of a double hitter. I'm like, no, let's play the game. 9 innings, end of the game. If it's tied up, you play till somebody score, and same thing. You should use your pitching better.
Right. It is what it is, man. Don't change the sacred game of baseball. But I think they're incensed on doing so. And this was something I said to my buddy earlier was the game of baseball is starting to turn into like the NBA a little bit, where in the NBA, all it is people shoot threes and they dunk. They've lost the art of the mid-range and ball movement and stuff like that. And in baseball, it's all home runs and strikeouts now. Like we've lost all the stuff in between here, and it's driving me crazy.
It's ridiculous to where I was talking to a friend a few days ago. We were talking about, Tony go in and just say Carlos Stanton. Tony Gwynn struck out 8 or 10 times in 1 year, and Stan struck out 8 or 10 times in a doubleheader.
Yeah, I don't think Gwynn ever struck out more than, was it 30 a year? It was something. It's ridiculous. Like
To where guys just they know they go up there. I can hit 45, 50 home runs, hit 220, 230, and I'm going to make $25 million.
Yeah, it's chicks dig the long ball. I guess that's how it used to go.
And to where you look at Scherzer may have 300 strikeouts this year.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. The pitchers look like they're doing great. It's like, my God, he's got 12 strikeouts in 6 innings. It's like, well,
right.
That's because they swing for the fences every time. But man, that's all I got for you, Ray. I appreciate you coming on the show, brother. I'm so glad you came back. We enjoyed you the first time. I always enjoy talking baseball. We're sorry we didn't have all of our co-hosts here with us today. We've had all kinds of technical difficulties creep up on us, but we're determined to talk to you and at least take solace in the fact that West Virginia feels a little better than Arizona does right now.
Hey, anytime you need, I'm here. I love talking the game of baseball, man.
I appreciate you, Ray. All right, I got that out of my system, fellas. So we can wrap up the show. We appreciated Ray coming on. It's always fun to talk to him, and he's enjoying the wonderful weather down there in Arizona, and he got to go to a couple spring training ball games, so that's always fun. It makes me excited just to go to a sporting event again. But we always like to try to wrap up with some type of pop culture, and we had a lot of stuff going on this weekend. Biggie, you ended up watching the All-Star weekend festivities, so that kind of took your time away. I ended up watching something I think Mr. Brown watched, and then I got something you guys didn't watch. So, Mr. Brown, why don't you go first?
I got to watch the sequel of Coming to America.
Yes.
30
Was it good?
30 years later.
You haven't seen it yet, Biggs?
I ran into a lady. I took my daughter to have her nails done. There was a lady in there. We got to talk, and she asked me if I'd seen it yet. I said no. She said, you got to watch it. Better than the first one. You must watch it. I have not seen it. So was it better than the first?
Oh, it's not going to be, and I didn't expect it to be. So you might hear some spoilers.
I'm all right with that.
All right.
Spoiler alert.
So the fact is they brought back the whole original cast, which was amazing.
Yep.
So everyone, except for James Earl Jones' wife, the Queen,
Okay.
she must have passed away, or they could, I don't know.
We were too lazy to look it up.
So everyone was still in it. And what was even funnier, he went back to the barbershop originally that was, in the first one.
Yeah.
And they kept those characters the exact same. So, like, they should be dead.
Yeah, they never aged.
And they didn't age at all.
Ah, very nice.
Everyone else aged. Like, even the preacher was, like, way older. He looked like Freddy Krueger on his face. But it was great. I mean, for me, it wasn't. It's obviously the first was a classic.
Yes.
But this was good for what it was. And, like, you had cameo, like, Wesley Snipes is in it.
Yep. Plays a pivotal role, actually.
Huge role.
Yep.
Morgan Freeman's in it.
Yep. Not a big role.
Not a big role,
But good.
And then you bring out a bunch of different celebrity
Salt and
singers.
Pepper.
Yeah.
In Vogue.
Yeah, it was
and
cool.
together. What a king, what
Yeah,
a king,
so-
what a king, what a mighty good king.
It's great. James Earl Jones is dying in the movie at the very beginning. So then he's trying to pass the throne, right?
But he wants to go to his funeral
So
alive.
he said, I want to have a funeral, but I still want to be alive. So they start this ceremony, and that's when all these singers come out and they're singing to him. That's when they're singing "What a King," and he's there going,
He's inside a coffin.
he's not, and he's like standing in a coffin, and then all this is going on, and then he passes away during the ceremony.
Yeah.
But it's crazy. I mean,
Yeah.
it was good. It was a good watch.
It was fun. Like it's not better than the original, and they even make fun of it. Like there's a scene where two of the characters are talking, and they're talking about, well, America has the best movies, and they're like, only if you like superheroes and a bunch of stupid sequels that don't make any sense. They're throwing shade on themselves. So you got to that's the tone of the movie. But it was fun. If you liked the first one, you would like it. If you never watched the first one, you watch it, you just be like, what is this?
So I just have one question. I haven't seen it. Are there any like belly buster laugh parts of it?
I don't know about Belly Buster. I mean,
it was
chuckle.
consistent. It was consistent.
Yeah.
You chuckled?
Yeah, you smile.
Okay.
You'd be like, oh, that's fine.
I'm good with the chuckle.
Yeah. I mean, it's a good movie. It's worth a watch. I would recommend it. If you like the first one, definitely watch it. If you haven't watched the first one, it's hit or miss.
Yeah, we'll go back and watch the first one and then watch.
So we were talking about this before, and I just got to throw this out real quick. Who has the better voice? Like, if you had to have somebody narrate your life, is it James Earl Jones or Morgan Freeman?
Well, that
Not
guy,
to put you on the spot or anything.
Frank Caliendo, does a lot of different voices. And when he reads things and he decides to read them in,
Morgan Freeman, that's his big one, right?
yeah, it's Morgan Freeman.
For me, it's James Earl. personally.
It's more inspirational.
James Earl is more. I feel like he's more demanding.
You're not wrong in either. The presence.
He is, yeah.
Yes, it's a presence. You feel it. You can actually feel the voice.
Like when you're a kid and you watch Lion King and you heard Mufasa and it's James Earl, like we was talking about this yesterday. That's what a king lion would sound like if it could speak.
You want to know why it's Morgan Freeman for me? There's
Shawshank Redemption.
There's nothing wrong. Exactly. There's nothing
I'll never
wrong.
forget the first
with,
time I saw Ain't It Afraid.
Picking James Earl Jones. You're not
The longest
wrong.
night of his
Right.
life.
It's just when you see that movie, he narrates everything, and I love that movie.
He
And
was a tall drink of water.
ah,
They're both great.
How often do you honestly
you can't
look at
go
a man's
wrong with
shoes?
either.
You can't go wrong with either. I just think it's a fun conversation. Maybe we should put that on the page. We should put it on the poll. We'll ask people who they want to narrate their life.
Yeah.
Do they want James Earl Jones or Morgan Freeman? Fair enough, right? All right. Last thing I got. You guys know I'm a wrestling nerd. I enjoy it. I enjoy the business. And yes, guys, I know it's not real, so don't come in here with that jackass bullshit because we know what it is.
It's better when I thought it was real.
It's entertainment. Yes, when I was a kid, except for that time that Jake the Snake had the cobra bite Macho Man, they gave me nightmares.
Yeah.
Either way.
Never recovered, have you?
No, that was anyway. You had AEW, who is the upstart promotion. Tony Khan owns it. Dad owns the Jaguars. Whatever. They got money. They can throw at all kinds of stuff. So they had their little one of their. I guess they do 4 times a year a big show, and overall it's actually a pretty solid card. Like the problem is for most casual fans, you don't know who half these people are. Mm-hmm. So I'm watching it and I'm enjoying some of the action. It's actually not bad. And you get to the main event, and the main event is an exploding barbed wire death match. And just
Sounds like something from The Simpsons.
right. So it's real big in Japan. They don't happen very often, but really what it is, they take 3 of the ropes and it's real barbed wire, and they had pyro hooked up to it, stuff like that. So if you hit the ropes, it explodes.
Question for you. Mills Lane, the referee.
No, it was not celebrity deathmatch. Let's get it on. But it was, a la Mick Foley, wrestling and
Mick Foley,
Japan
Terry
back in
Funk.
the
good old
it's
boys.
that type of thing. So honestly, like these guys, they killed it, man. Like they had a great match, and there was a 30-minute time limit. And here's the thing.
Who was in the match? Dean Ambrose?
It was Kenny Omega and Dean Ambrose, John Moxley.
Yep.
So at the end of the match, like if it goes 30 minutes, the whole thing just blows up. Right. And like you guys have not seen this before, but in Japan they have done this, and like it's wild. It's insane. So that's the thing you're waiting on. So they have a 4.5 star, maybe 5-star match. It's great. But as Vince McMahon always says, the fans will only remember the ending and nothing else. So Kenny Omega retains. He gets help with cheats, all that stuff. And they do a number on Moxley, right? And so they leave in the ring, and then the clock comes up, and you realize there's only 30 seconds left. So they hightail it out of the ring, and one of Mox's friends comes out of the locker room. He's trying to get him out, but he can't. So he just throws his body on top of him, like, I'm going to save him, like it's the sacrificial moment, right? Clock hits 0. Psst, these little sparklers go off. It was like the most sad bastard thing I've ever seen in my life. And the thing was, if your angle is, it's like, yeah, it didn't really blow up. We were just pulling your leg, blah, 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 that type of thing. That's fine. But the guys in the ring, they're selling it like, because they're down, they're not seeing it. They just hear it. Mm-hmm. And it's sparklers. It's like Gilbert's entrance.
Oh, my gosh.
I mean, it is so bad. It is so bad. And it sucks because I want them to succeed and do well, but that is a huge step backwards.
Yeah, I got to say, just listening to you describe it, the fact that it wasn't a over-the-top fireworks show where you're wondering if one of those guys has injuries and is really going to the hospital.
Like I'll show you
That's
one.
a huge disappointment. If you're the upstart, I don't care how much money Khan has, you needed that to hit, especially right now. Take as much of the...
Like, it'd be one thing if it does it, and then the guys, because Kenny Omega is the one that designed the thing. That was the storyline, right? So if that happens and then you're on the ramp and you're laughing because they thought it was going to be something bad and it wasn't, that's fine. You can do that story. But when the guys are laying in the ring and needing paramedics after it, and nothing happened. And then like there was this moment after the show went off, the fans were there and they caught John Moxley on the mic and he's like, well, Kenny Omega, he's one tough son of a bitch, but he can't build an exploding ring for shit, And like that's the route you have to take. But they done sold it like these guys were murdered by the ring. It was so bad.
That's disappointing.
It is, but that's what I like. And then Mr. Brown and I were talking earlier. I watched UFC Saturday night, and Amanda Nunes. Have you ever watched her fight? Really,
she is the baddest woman on the planet.
She might be. She needs to fight guys.
Yeah, she may be the best UFC fighter if you just want to look at like per pound fighter in history.
I mean, we watched the top 5 knockouts earlier. Like, could you take a punch from her?
And with my neck, I don't want to.
It would not go well. So I ended up watching UFC and I watched wrestling. I did not watch NBA basketball. So I'm still happy with my choice, even though for the lack of exploding ring. It is what it is.
Hey, so I got one question. Who did the pyro for that event? Was it the Indian from Joe Dirt who likes snakes and sparklers?
So I saw that meme like a million times over.
I didn't even see it.
No, but that's what I just thought of. One of the memes that was like, hey, we found AEW's pyro guy.
I like snakes and sparklers.
That's what it is. When the show's done, I'm going to show it to y'all so you can just go,
yeah,
wow,
I didn't see that meme. That's what popped in my head.
Right. It was bad. Oh, well. Well, fellas, it's been real, but we'll call it a night. And we will see everybody next week. Same bat time, same bat channel. Have a good weekend. This has been the We Don't Know Sports Podcast.